Hey guys, I'm Dov, and today I'm back with more Total War Warhammer 2 Prophet and the Warlock Early Access action. We're here once again with the cute, cuddly Skaven, and I have to say, just as a preface, Skaven have long been one of my favorite factions in this game. I haven't been playing them a ton just because they haven't been the best. But holy cow, guys, this DLC adds so much cool stuff to the Skaven, and I have to say, Ikit Claw is quickly becoming one of my favorite legendary lords in the game. He's probably rocketed his way all the way to the top 5, mostly because he's a Doomwheel Lord. I mean, come on, guys, a freaking Doomwheel Lord. How cool is that? We've got Ikit Claw here, my Skaven going up against Turin's High Elves. We've got a couple more regiments of renown here, so let's pause briefly while we go over them. We've got Ikit's ZZZAP, the Regiment of Renown Warp Lightning Cannon here. It has a bound effect, plus 10 ability recharge on hit. Going to be very good against any factions that rely on magic quite a bit, or that rely on other timed mechanics. Think, vampire counts, high elves, greenskins, just in general going to be very good in a multitude of matchups, and being a Regiment of Renown, it's more accurate and has a faster fire rate. We've also got the Council Guard here, the Regiment of Renown Storm Vermin. These guys are unbreakable and have Guardian. In terms of the rest of the army, we've also got the Regiment of Renown Doomwheel, which is one of the coolest looking units in the entire game. The Wheels of Doom here. I don't remember exactly what its effect is. I think it just has a stronger zap gun, I want to say. Front line of Skaven Slaves, second line of Clan Rats. We've got a couple of Rat Ogres as well. For Turin, he's got Alithanar leading the way for the High Elves, which is actually a pretty decent pick. Alithanar is very good at counter-artillery sniping, so I like that pick quite a bit. He's also got a Noble on horseback to take out large units, a couple of Phoenixes, 3 Shadow Warriors, a Light Mage on a Tirnock Chariot out to the flank, and 4 Spearmen as a front line. We're going to catch one of these Phoenixes with a Howling Warp Gale here and just focus Ikit ZZZAP on him. We were able to get a couple of good shots on that Noble right at the outset of the battle, but this Phoenix is going to come down, try and go after the Plague Priest, which is obviously a great target. I do have some high mass units in the area, sort of trying to mirror the movements of these Phoenixes. Unfortunately, I wasn't quite able to catch it, but you can see the Zap Gun did quite a bit of damage there. This Phoenix is going to drop down, try and go after Ikit Claw, and it looks like the Shadow Warriors are also focus firing as well. Clan Rats in the front line, but we don't really need to watch that. What we need to watch is the Doomwheel Lord here. He's going to fly around, get a nice side zap on that Phoenix here, and now with the Phoenix pinned on the ground, we're going to get a nice little rear charge, get an awkward little bump there. You can see the Rat Ogres are also coming over from the side. Another unit of Rat Ogres over on this side. And Ikit, of course, does have Howling Warp Gale. If we take a look at his spell selection here, I've taken Howling Warp Gale, Warp Lightning, and Death Frenzy, so a little bit of a heavier loadout this time, but Council Guard holding off some Illyrian Reavers, making sure that Ikit's ZZZAP stays nice and healthy. Does look like one of the cannons got taken out, unfortunately, but we're doing my best to try and keep these Phoenixes from doing too much work. Obviously, in the front line, Clan Rats with numbers can take care of High Elf Spearmen, but the Wheels of Doom also contributing to this fight here, terrifying away one unit of Spearmen. Meanwhile, the Phoenix is continuing to dive, and Ikit and the Rat Ogres continuing to try and mirror their movements. Just use that high mass and that heavy AP to go after these Phoenixes. Granted, Flamespire Phoenixes don't actually have that much armor, but still, just doing as much as we can. And the Illyrian Reavers doing their best to try and get on the Warp Lightning Cannon here, but Council Guard standing firm. Obviously, a little bit of an expensive unit to be just holding off Illyrian Reavers, but they'll do the job, certainly. And it is a very expensive artillery piece, so I want to make sure we keep it online as much as possible. Meanwhile, in the back line, we've got Clan Rats pushing around the Shadow Warriors. This is a great situation for me if I can keep them from firing too much, but man, that blue Doomwheel, holy cow, the Zap Gun just looks amazing. It's going to come through here. It will take some Overwatch fire from those Shadow Warriors on the approach, but yeah. We're going to use the Brass Orb as well, just to make sure that some of these guys stay disrupted as much as possible, aren't able to fire in super effectively, and Ikit here playing bumper cars with the Light Mage. Light Mage is like stuck on the spikes on the front and just getting continuously zapped and pushed away, so yeah, needless to say, she is quite literally getting pushed off the battlefield. Meanwhile, the Phoenix is taking a dive here. I'm not sure. I think the other Phoenix, yeah, it looks like it's over on the far side, going after the Wheels of Doom, which has taken quite a bit of damage at this point from the Shadow Warriors and from the Phoenix there. It, definitely can take some heat, but so far so good. We're able to sort of run it back over to some protection here. We've got the Plague Priest summoning up some more clan rats to try and zone out those Shadow Warriors, and the ZZZAP still able to fire, protected by the Council Guard, still getting effective shots in here, and a little bit of friendly fire, but hey, Skaven don't mind friendly fire, right? And the Zap Gun zapping that Phoenix right in the face is going to actually rout it off. It does get the healing proc, but it's still, the leadership's given out at that point, so yeah. Council Guard still continuing to hold off those Reavers. Yeah, enough said there. Might be getting a bit of friendly fire on the Plague Priest as well, but it's worth it to try and take out the Flamespire Phoenix. The Noble also still hanging around as well. He has anti-large AP, but Ikit's going to pull around and try and get a rear charge on him. At this point, things are not looking great for the High Elves. The double Doom Wheel has definitely been a lot for them to deal with. Lithanar still relatively healthy at this point, but the Phoenixes have been dealt with. The Mage is gone. The Shadow Warriors have taken a ton of damage, so there's just not a lot of stopping power left for the High Elves at this point. So yeah, this Noble getting pounded on, getting zapped in the face by Ikit's Doom Wheel. And that should be pretty much it. We're getting pretty close to critical army losses at this point. Looks like a Shadow of the Phoenix flying back over. And yeah, again, man, that blue Doom Wheel. Oh man, I just love that blue Powerade zap. It's amazing. Ugh. And this is the ultimate double Doom Wheel build here. I mean, previously double Doom Wheel builds were pretty good in a number of matchups, but now, I mean, you have your Lord and Caster on one Doom Wheel. The other Doom Wheel is a Regiment of Renown. Ooh, gets taken out right there by the Phoenix. But it was a glorious end for the Wheels of Doom. No doubt they'll pick up the pieces and put it back together soon. Another Brass Orb being popped on these Shadow Warriors here as a Lithanar gets pushed around by Ikit. And that should be pretty much the end for the High Elves. You can see the Shadow Warriors focusing, trying to take out this Plague Priest. They might actually be able to finish it off here, but maybe. Army losses are getting pretty close. Will the Plague Priest survive? Oh, it looks like he just barely squeaks away there, so he'll live to fight another day. And Ikit, of course, carrying strong all the way to the end. A super fun battle. Hope you guys enjoyed watching that one. Yeah, Ikit, definitely in my top 5 Legendary Lords. We'll have to see exactly where he falls, but man, this is such a cool Lord. And I'm so glad that we have another viable alternative to Skrulk now. And make no mistake, he is totally a viable alternative, especially in matchups where your opponent's faction struggles with large, single entity models, armored single entity models, that is. You know, High Elves, Bretonnia, there are a few factions that don't do great against large armored single entities, and of course Doom Wheels do fit that bill quite well, and Ikit on a Doom Wheel just makes it that much more powerful. It's got that Zap Gun, got tons of area of effect damage abilities, and as well as the missile attack as well. So yeah, very fun stuff. The Council Guard, a little bit overkill for just holding off a unit of Reavers, but they were able to keep that Zap online mostly the whole time. And it did some great work, focusing on various single entity units. Both the High Elf heroes got taken out relatively easily. Rat Ogres did a great job helping to zone out the Phoenixes and make sure they didn't get any high value snipes. I will admit, we played this matchup once before this, and I basically got killed in the first minute by letting Ikit Claw get netted, and then he just, it was bad. It was a huge mistake by me. So I asked Turn for a rematch. He agreed, and this was the result. And yeah, I think this is a little bit more indicative of how this matchup will go. Obviously, you need to play smart with it, but let's go to one more replay. I'm going to be doing a lot of double casts over the next few days. But this time I'm up against Italian Spartacus Dark Elves, and once again playing the Skaven. I decided to bring the old school nasty boy Skrulk this time, just to see how he would play with some of the new tools. I also wanted to take the Regiment of Renown Plague Monk Censer Bearers, just to show you guys them in action, show you guys what they look like and everything, and who better to lead the Plague Monk Censer Bearers than the Plague Monk himself. So yeah, we've got Skrulk here, typical kit on him. He's protected by the Council Guard, so he does have that Guardian. Makes him a little bit tankier, a little bit less snipeable. which he is pretty snipeable. We've got Jazales, speaking of snipes, and ZZZAP once again, protected by clan rats. The Blight Scabs Plague Pack, they've got kind of like a Grail Relic effect. This Demagoguery gives an area of effect immune to psychology. That should be relatively useful. We've also got a couple more units of regular Plague Monks. One unit of the Doom Flayers here. This is basically like a chariot. It's probably better in sustained combat than most chariots because of its attack animations, but it functions more or less as a unit of chariots. We've also got the Wheels of Doom once more. And that's pretty much it for me for Italian Spartacus Dark Elves. We've got Dark Riders here, Knights of the Ebon Claw led by Malekith. Whole line of Bleak Swords here with a Cane Knight Assassin. We've also got a unit of Blackguard, a couple Dark Shards, a couple Reaper Bolt Throwers, and some Dread Spears as well. And right off the bat, the Dark Elves are going to be moving up. Obviously, Malekith and the expensive stuff very well hidden down here. This is a very smart move by the Witch King here to hide himself and his expensive cavalry down in the woods, out of line of sight of these high-powered ranged units. That does mean that we're going to have to focus on some other things, which is fine. You know, it could zap. The ability recharge probably won't matter a whole lot for shooting at, you know, like these bolt throwers, which is what I'm going to try and focus first. Just wanted to see, like, hey, how effective is the counterfire artillery here? It's pretty effective, but we are kind of out towards the extreme end of the range of that, so it's not going to be the best. We are going to switch to the Blackguard here since it's a more expensive target. Should be able to generate a little bit better value there, but yeah, I figured there was something going on in the woods down here, so I'm going to switch the Council Guard and Scroll over to this side of the battlefield, and hopefully that'll help out a little bit. And you can see the Blackguard there taking some heat. They've lost, what, 4 models already so far, so that's pretty decent. The Jazales are still kind of just chilling at the moment. Dark Riders coming up and around the flank, looking to get in the cookie jar a little bit, see if they can't disrupt some of these ranged units. But the Jazales now opening up, going after Bleak Swords. Probably not the best target, but hey, anything we can do to generate some value at this point. I do spot the Cane Knight Assassin over on this far flank, so we're probably going to start focusing him with the Jazales if we can. But I'm just zoning out these cav here with the Flayers, and with the Doom Wheel. Obviously they have the mass to stop up cavalry, so I want to make sure they're kind of zoning out here. The Warp Lightning Cannon also applying some pressure there. But yeah, Italian very patiently advancing here. The Bleak Sword's going to now start to get into this front line here. Skaven Slave Slingers opening up shots. Should generate a little bit of value here. It's not going to be anything amazing, but it should be something. Meanwhile, the Dark Elf Artillery trying to counterfire on ZZZAP there. And yeah, the Plague Monk's going to be sent forward. Plague Monks will do a great job at cutting through Bleak Swords, obviously. And with the Slaves saturated in here as well, they should be able to filter through and start getting some attacks, start mixing in there, mixing it up a little bit. Meanwhile, the ranged units just kind of focusing on these Dark Shards and so on. They look like they're firing at the Plague Pack, which is obviously a good target for them. All of a sudden, the Knights of the Ebon Claw and Malekith pop up, and I'm like, okay, well, my Council Guard are sort of involved in the front line there. They take a little Blade Wind. So we're going to stop the charge with these Clan Rats, who I fully expect to get just absolutely curb stomped. And then we're going to follow up with the Plague Pack here. Now, obviously, the armor piercing and so on from them will be pretty good here. They also have just great stats overall for such a squishy unit. Only 10 armor, but they do have 45 attack, 42 defense, heavy weapon strength, and of course that area of effect, let's see, what is it called? Immune to psychology will help out those Clan Rats. These guys do cause fear. They don't cause terror, but they do cause fear. You can see the Doom Wheel also pulling through now. Unfortunately, ZZZAP does finally get taken out by those Dark Riders. They were able to bypass the Flayers and get on top of that unit there, shut it down. It already had generated quite a bit of value, though, so that's okay. Jazales also got stopped up there, which is not great, but oh, here comes another Blade Wind. I'm going to run straight through that with my nice expensive Plague Monks, so some very nice use of the area of effect damage there. Not going to do a ton, but it will do a little bit of damage there to those Plague Monks. You can see the Council Guard also making their way back. I'm trying to secure this high ground position. Unfortunately, I did lose out on most of my ranged units already. But yeah, you can see the flares. I decided, you know what, let's go after the Dark Elf backline. There's nothing to protect these Dark Shards here, so the flare's going to do their thing. Start to run through those Dark Shards. And honestly, even going after like the Blackguard won't be the worst as long as I have support. So I'm going to run in some of these slaves here. And then, yeah, just use the flares. They have good armor-piercing damage, and their big splash attacks, you can see they do hit quite a few unit models. And so even against an anti-large type infantry like these Blackguard here, we should be able to still get some good damage done. Meanwhile, you can see the Plague Pack here still continuing to run after the Knights of the Evenclaw. Knights of the Evenclaw getting tangled up on Clan Rats here. And then the Plague Pack going to get in there. Come on, guys. I thought I gave you an attack order. Maybe not. Looks like another excellently placed Blade Wind from Italian. Going to do a ton of damage to those Plague Pack. Wow, that was actually very effective. Unfortunately for Malekith, though, he gets stopped up by the Temple Guard, by the Council Guard here. A very nice Gaze of Malice is going to spring him loose. That was potentially a very dangerous situation, but still has taken quite a bit of damage there. Skrulk and the Council Guard chasing him around. The Canine Assassin getting blasted and then promptly run over by the Doom Wheel, which is exactly, you know, what we want. But here we go. Now the Plague Monks able to sit and sustain combat against these Knights of the Evenclaw here, and they will take out these very expensive Knights quite well. And obviously they'll take some losses doing it, but yeah, those superior combat stats, I mean, the Knights of the Evenclaw have very good melee defense, but thankfully the Plague Pack, you know, with their buffs and everything, they do good enough damage that they're able to see those Knights off. And now Malekith caught out in the open, the rallied Jezzails. We've also got rallied Warped Lightning Cannons. And yeah, he's not long for this world. He has thrown down quite a few good Blade Winds, but yeah. Ooh, looks like the Warped Lightning Cannon actually decked him. And a most ignominious end for the Witch King, just getting absolutely zapped there. At this point, it's pretty much just this Blackguard holding out, so you can see more summoned Plague Monks here from the Plague Monk Master himself, along with the Council Guard, going to get in here and just cut up what's left of these Blackguard. And that should be the end for the Dark Elves. So hopefully you guys enjoyed watching this double Skaven killing Elves battle. A double cast, I guess. And yeah, well played to Turin and Italian both. Big thanks to them for playing these battles with me. And it was definitely a ton of fun. I've got a ton more battles coming your guys' way. So what did we learn from these two? Well, the Regiment of Renown Doom Wheel, quite strong. The ZZZAP, also a very strong pick in a number of matchups. The Plague Monk Sensor Bears, I'm not really super sold on them. I think I'm going to have to try them out in a few more matchups. The Council Guard are definitely a pretty decent pick if you're expecting any kind of big terror, you know, terror-causing whatever. They're unbreakable, so they'll hold out until the very end. They give your Lord a little bit less snipeability. They are pretty expensive, so I'm still not super sold on them either. But definitely the Regiment of Renown Doom Wheel and ZZZAP here, the Warp Lightning Cannon, well worth it. Flayers, I know they didn't really do a ton in this battle, but they are a very, very good unit. You guys will be seeing a lot of these Doom Flayers in the coming videos. But yeah, they are a really excellent unit. 155 kills in these Plague Monks, not bad at all. They were able to cut through a lot of these lighter Dark Elf units in the front line very efficiently. And yeah, just sort of going wide here, I think, is the right idea. It may have been worth it for Italian to just sit back and try and use these Reaper Bolt Throwers as much as possible, rather than just advancing straight in. Sit back, try and use the Reaper Bolt Throwers to counterfire artillery. It's a little bit risky, because if you end up losing the artillery duel, I mean, granted, you may have wasted a lot of ammo on your opponent's artillery. So yeah, it's a little bit of a tough call there, but it may have been more worth it for Italian to just sit back and play that a little bit more patiently. But still, a very fun battle. Hopefully you guys enjoyed watching. If you do like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button, so every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. If you do want to support me in a more personal way, if you want to help me take this channel to the next level, help me do this full-time, be sure to check out the Patreon link in the description below. Thank you once again for watching, and we'll see you next time.